Hey guys, this is Walkus with MobileSentrix, and let's talk MacBook repairs. So as a lot of shop owners have started getting into the MacBook repair, they've now run into two major hurdles. One, the price point, and two, it's going to be stock availability. Now, price point, when we talk about it, we can see screens that are the 2006 like teen model, that's about 6 years old. And this screen right here goes for around $450. And then it's not very difficult to do the MacBook repair, but buying a part for $450 and then trying to convince a customer that a 6 or 7 year old MacBook is still worth doing a repair for $500 plus. So that's been a major hurdle. Second, let's talk about stock availability. Stock availability on OEM pull panels, just like this one. Not only do they go for $450, to be able to source a mint good condition OEM pull screen is very difficult, and it's not readily available. Most OEM pulls that are going to be 6 or 7 years old are 100% going to be really beat up, really used, dinged up, and the only way that most MacBook customers actually let go of these panels or these computers is when they're really in a bad condition. So stock availability is also a very major issue. But we have a great solution. We've been hearing your concerns, we've been hearing your problems, and we'd like to introduce you MacBook Aftermarket displays. So now let's go over the 2 points that Aftermarket is going to solve. Point 1, price. Currently, one of the most popular screens is the A1706. It's from a 2006 teen model. It's about 6 years old. We currently sell this panel for an OEM pull for $450-ish. Now, the Aftermarket, we're going to be selling it for 50% less, $230. 2, stock availability. Now, when it comes to the OEM pulls, sourcing the OEM pulls is very scarce, and especially if you're looking for a pristine 2016 model that hasn't been tampered too much with, or a customer had a case on it. On the OEM pulls, we're always in stock. We might have grade A, B, C, and there's still so much variance on it. And having a true OEM pull is still very difficult. Aftermarket is going to solve this. We're going to be able to have these readily available for the shops to order anytime, which means that that they would easily be able to convince the customer for the pricing, saying that they can do the repair cheaper, and if they needed the part overnighted, it wouldn't break the bank. So stock availability will be much easier to source, to keep in stock, and everything ready for the shops to start doing more and more MacBook repairs. So I'd like to go into a little bit more detail. What have we learned? What's currently going on in the current market? When we first stepped into doing MacBook repairs, we noticed that, look, these MacBook displays are really difficult to source, and the pricing has been very tough. And we've tried to negotiate down as much as possible for the shops, but still, I know that, we feel the pain that, look, carrying a 2016 model for this price is crazy. Shop owners at the same time have came back to us and said that, look, there's other sites selling it for cheaper. So we did some digging around and what's been going on. We've seen that, China's been selling these aftermarket panels forever. What are they selling? They're selling the aftermarket panels with the copy housing, with tons of copy components in it, and calling it OEMs. And wholesalers and dealers and distributors have been selling them as OEM. So as you know, at MobileSentrix, we really thrive on being transparent with the shop owners. When we call it OEM pull, it's OEM pull. Now, I want to show you an example what some of the other wholesalers call premium OEM pull, premium panels. They're selling these panels for just under $400, and they're saying that they're cheaper than MobileSentrix, but what they're really selling is actually a counterfeit housing with a Apple logo on it, but they're selling it to you claiming that it's a premium or an OEM product. So just to be clear, this panel and this panel are almost identical. And the only difference is they decided to cut an Apple logo into a aftermarket housing and calling it as an OEM premium screen, something like that. I want to show you how we take our aftermarket panels and make it much better. And one thing I forgot to reiterate, this panel is right now being sold for $420 plus. $420, $450, $230. So not only are you paying $200 more for an Apple logo, we at MobileSentrix would not be okay with putting ourselves or our customers at risk for any compliance issues with aftermarket housings. So when I first stated to you that, hey, look, we are gonna look at the aftermarkets and they make it better. Yes, it doesn't have the Apple logo, but there's so many more points to aftermarket that we can improve on. Comparing some of the other premium vendors, if you look at their color of the housing shell, you can see that it's very hard that they did not match the color at all. They're oversprayed, there's granule and everything. We went and tried to do as much color matching as we could to get it to look like the OEM. The second thing that we looked into is that, hey, okay, on these aftermarket displays, who's doing the bonding of the IC? Now, a bonding of an IC is they're taking the core glass and they're bonding an IC chip to it. Now, the question is, who's doing the bonding? We at MobileSentrix made sure that the original OEM manufacturer of the panel is the one that's going to be doing the bonding of the IC and flex. We were not comfortable with getting an additional price cut so China or other assembly factories could do it. All it does is it increases the defect rate, it increases more returns to the shops, which ends up bringing more of a bad image for us. Second, we went in and looked at, hey, okay, so all these aftermarket suppliers who are selling this, what components are they using? So it's not only flex and core, there's also actually a front camera in it. So we saw that, hey, most of them are using this aftermarket front cameras, which are being converted from an older generation MacBook to a newer generation just by soldering on a secondary IC and flex. We ensured that, hey, the other components that went into our panels are going to be the same spec as the OEM. So the clarity of the image, the wrist-like response time will still be the same that the original customer was expecting when he got his screen replaced. Third, even not only looking at the paint, but there's other small components. When it comes down to the hinges, to the bezels, anything, we're looking to get it to be as good as an OEM panel would have been. Now, let's take this one, for example, from one of the other suppliers. We can even see, oh, look at this. It even says MacBook Pro on it. So their bottom bezels will be able to see this not only says MacBook Pro, but this is plastic. Apple's original is actually glass. If you even look at ours, without heating it up, I'm probably going to destroy it, but it's glass. So what I'm trying to get to is that, hey, it's not only just what the customer sees, it's all the materials and components that go into it, that we're looking keenly into any element that we want the aftermarket to be more superior than anyone else. So when people are saying that, hey, that they're selling $430 parts and they're making 100% margins on these, if we took all the cuts that some of these suppliers took, this would be a little bit more cheaper. But at the end of the day, we're looking to bring a very aggressive price, so where shops can benefit from doing MacBook repairs. A lot of shops have been hesitant to do high-end MacBook repairs. It's not due to the fact of the work. It's more about the price and how you convince the customer and everything like that. And of course, packaging is always great. We're always looking to make sure that when it leaves our facility, it like gets to your shop safely. To wrap it up, Aftermarket MacBook displays are available both in the US and Canada warehouse. And as always, thank you for your continued support. MobileSentrix is on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.